Malls across the United States are interestingly being repurposed into residential apartments, offering a unique and intriguing living experience. But is this a clever solution to the current housing crisis or a recipe for disaster? Let's delve into the pros and cons of mall living. Let's first discuss the benefits of mall living. I'm talking about urban convenience at its finest. Location, location, location. Malls are often situated in prime urban locations, offering easy access to public transportation, shops, restaurants, and entertainment. Residents can ditch the long commutes and enjoy the vibrant energy of the city. In many of the cities that I've personally traveled to in the US, malls are typically in great locations. And I have to think that this reason alone would bring a lot of interest to people who want the convenience of having what they need within walking distance or a short distance for them to get to. Next, built-in amenities. Many malls feature a plethora of amenities such as fitness centers, swimming pools, movie theaters, and even bowling alleys. These can be a major draw for residents seeking a convenient and active lifestyle. As long as I have my gym, I'm perfectly happy of living in a mall. Of course, there are some other factors to consider that we're going to continue to address in this video. Another advantage potentially is affordability. While rent prices can vary depending on the location and quality of the apartments, mall living could prove to be a more affordable option compared to traditional downtown apartments. I have to believe right now the affordability has to be pretty good before the buzz really gets too crazy. For anyone who currently lives in what was a mall that has been repurposed, let us know in the comments section below. Another benefit comes from a comment that I saw posted on a CNBC video that covered this topic, and what they said was, this is the answer for senior citizens who no longer drive. You have access to retail shops and do not need to use expensive rideshare services as much. In regard to their apartments being small, many people want this as seniors. A smaller living space is often a lot easier to maintain. I couldn't agree more. Of course, some senior citizens would rather not live in a mall or a little smaller space, and that's cool too. But for those who are fine with just enough space to live in and can be close to a lot of different shops, a lot of different amenities that they would have needed to drive to or have someone drive them to, instead, it's just a short distance away. I could see this being a big benefit for those people. And if there is access to a medical and dental clinic, then you really are helping them have what they need and more. Now, there are quite a few challenges of mall living that you need to be aware of. Let's go ahead and address those. And let's talk about noise and lack of privacy. There is constant activity at malls. We all know this. Malls are designed for foot traffic and noise, which can be a major drawback for those seeking a quiet and peaceful living environment. If you think about it, malls actually were originally created with the intention to be centers of social life. In a way, creating living spaces within malls might actually bring this to reality. Also, limited privacy. The open layout of malls can make it difficult to feel secluded, especially if your apartment is near common areas like food courts or atriums. I saw in the CNBC video, the lady was talking about how some people would accidentally try to open her door. That's definitely a drawback for me because I value my privacy, and the fact that hundreds, if not thousands of strangers could be walking past my front door every day is a bit of a turnoff. I think this is where some kind of barrier will be needed for those who are residents in the areas designated to living. And I've read there are protocols in place, but seriously, restricted access to certain portions of the mall with physical security presence, someone present, is very important. And the more that's invested in that, I think the more it will help calm privacy concerns. And another concern, which is security concerns. While security measures, as I've read, are typically in place, still, I can imagine some residents feeling less secure living in a public space that is open to visitors 24/7. And there's always the possibility of someone getting around the areas where people are living. It just happens, right? We see people doing this as they're piggybacking, driving just close enough to be able to get through the gate in regular apartments. So imagine what could possibly happen in a space that has thousands of people visiting on a day-to-day basis. Something else to bring up are environmental concerns. My understanding is that malls are often not designed with energy efficiency in mind, and this could lead to higher utility bills for residents. I'm not sure if this is accurate. This is something I saw, but if you are someone currently living in this kind of setup, let us know how expensive your utility bills are compared to maybe when you were living in a traditional type of apartment. Something else to consider is a lack of outdoor space. While some malls have rooftop gardens or courtyards, they're not a substitute for a traditional backyard or park. I personally have kids and they need to go outside. They need to go to the neighborhood playground and run and play. I'm not sure how they'd be able to do that living in a mall. Of course, we could go walk to a nearby available park, but there is something nice to be in our backyard late in the evening and enjoying each other's company. I'm talking about just letting them run wild, letting them play, letting them kick balls, letting them play basketball. If we wanted to camp out in the backyard, that's something I could see being a challenge for families to overcome and could make things a bit more complicated regardless of what type of outdoor courtyard or rooftop garden is in place for those residents. Something else, limited natural light. Many mall apartments rely on artificial lighting, which can negatively impact mental and physical well-being. I know myself, and going outside and just having windows that allow for the sun to shine through is very nice. Living in a home without windows might be difficult for me, but who knows? Now let's talk about social isolation. I'm talking about community spirit. While some malls create a sense of community among residents, others can feel impersonal and lacking in social interaction. So if you value that communal type of life, then this is something that could be a challenge. Although I know some malls try to make this work because of what they're working with. Now another thing, limited interaction with nature. Again, the lack of outdoor space and natural elements can contribute to feelings of isolation and disconnection. You could always try to go to a nearby park and try to get this connection with nature, but it's just nice to be able to go outside your front door and just walk into nature. Something else to consider is long-term sustainability. The long-term viability of mall to apartment conversions remains to be seen. As consumer habits continue to evolve, the demand for mall retail space may decline, potentially impacting the value of these residential units. Also, you got to think about maintenance costs. Older malls may require significant renovations and maintenance to ensure the safety and functionality of the apartments. I know there are some malls in the state that I'm currently in that I wouldn't go live in even if you paid me. So any type of mall conversion to a living space would have to be done the right way. And I mean, that could end up being very, very costly. And who's going to end up having to pay for that? Likely the residents. So maybe by now you've thought about it. Hey, is mall living right for me? Ultimately, the decision of whether or not to live in a mall apartment depends on your individual needs and preferences. If you're a young professional or student seeking an affordable and convenient living option in a vibrant urban area, mall living might be worth considering. I know if I was in college or in my younger years without kids, this would definitely be something I'd be willing to try. However, right now at my age, I value peace and quiet, privacy, and ample outdoor space to sit, watch my kids run and play. And I actually enjoy gardening as well. And it's nice to just be able to walk outside my back door and walk just a few feet to my garden. But if you are interested in what this living in a mall could be like, I want you to consider additional things as well. You got to research the specific mall. Not all mall to apartment conversions are created equal. You got to do your research on the specific mall and its amenities to ensure it aligns with your lifestyle and needs. Also, visit the property, take a tour of the apartments and common areas to get a feel for the space and the community. Try to visit throughout different times of the day to kind of understand what it looks like, so that way you're not surprised by traffic during the morning or in the afternoon or in the evening. If possible, speak with current residents to get their honest feedback about the living experience. Mall to apartment conversions represent an innovative approach to repurposing underutilized space and addressing the housing crisis in urban areas. I will definitely concede that. And while they offer potential benefits like convenience and affordability, they also raise concerns about noise, privacy, and long-term sustainability. Ultimately, the success of this trend is really going to depend on the ability of developers to address these challenges and create living spaces that meet the needs and expectations of residents. So, would you consider living in a mall? What are your thoughts on this trend? Share your comments and don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Peace.